Hello, welcome to another Frog Popstar video. Today, we're going to be talking about Darkmaster. It's one of the new World Forged enchants. If you're curious how to get it, it has a very low chance to drop off Darkmaster Gandling and Scholomance, which is not really the best way to get it. You can also complete the quest line in Western Plaguelands to get the Scholomance key. Once you do that, you just go kill Jandis Barov. She's one of the earlier bosses. You actually can skip every other boss and go straight to her. I did it with one other person, and it was quite easy to get there on normal. Maybe if you got a strong solo build, you can get there by yourself. Or if you've got Feigned Death or something, you definitely get there by yourself. You don't need to kill Jandis or anything. You just get to the chest in the room with her, open it, it respawns in about 5 minutes, and you can get it again. Okay, so here's what the enchant does. Dominated and enslaved demons apply Necromancer's Touch when dealing damage with their abilities. So their abilities, not their auto attacks. This is a big difference, okay? By the way, my RE loadout is for Wardens of Demon Reach, which we're going to be doing a video on next, probably. We're talk about that a little bit too, but we've already switched away from Darkmaster. We're going to talk about why. So, Shadow Bolt and Haunt give you Harvested Essence. If you have 5 of them, it makes your Drained Soul put these Afflicted Soul ticks on them. And when you channel it, it only takes 1 Drained Soul to do this. You channel it, it gets a bunch of stacks real fast, and then it does Ruptured Soul and makes them take 20% more damage from shadow damage over time. And it lasts 30 seconds, okay? So the way you do this rotation, okay, is you're using Haunt and Shadow Bolt until you have 5 stacks. Then you drain their soul, and then you use Drain Life when you have stacks from then on instead of Drain Soul. And then when the stacks fall off, you get 5 stacks again, and you use Drain Soul. The debuff that your pet applies when it reaches 5 stacks, even if you don't have 5 stacks of your Shadow Bolt Haunt buff, I would Drain Life anyway. It's a little bit higher DPS. And also, your pet will rapidly kill itself. I hate this part of this enchant. I hope this goes away, because it makes this so annoying. I'm using the Quillbore. The skeleton has the same ability, 0 cooldown strike. It stacks it the fastest. It also kills them the fastest. The Quillbore is slightly higher DPS than the skeleton because of this Enrage. It's called Frenzy. And the Rushing Charge is also, better in terms of DPS than the skeleton's Leap. So the Quillbore is slightly higher DPS than the skeleton. It's pretty negligible. If you're using the skeleton, I would disable the Bone Armor. It's not a DPS increase at all, and the damage reduction doesn't help it it's not going to help you in raids and dungeons or anything, really. So I would just disable it, since it's a DPS loss for the pet to be casting that. But the Quillbore, is good to go with all of its abilities. If you have Frenzy on auto, it will, use it out of combat. But, on longer fights, it's just whatever. You can just have it on auto. It's not a big deal. So, those are the highest DPS pets. But if you use a slower, a pet with its ability's got a longer cooldown, you're going to be getting a lot less stacks of the debuff the pet applies, which will kind of make the enchant not function right. It's really silly. These seem like the only pets this enchant really works with, if I'm being honest. Because if you use one of the DPS caster pets, like the Wraith or something, it runs out of mana, and the build doesn't naturally have a way to restore mana to it. So you need to use one of these energy pets, and the other energy pets have cooldowns on their abilities, and it's just, I don't know. This enchant's not very well thought out. I'll just tell you that up front, okay? So yeah, I'm gonna have the build down below, but for essentials to this build is I started with Shadow Bolt because it's just annoying to level without it. And of course, Dominate Undead. This works with demons too, but none of the demons that I've seen really are great fits for it either. They don't really compare with the Skeleton or Quillbore, in my opinion. So I really think the Skeleton and the Quillbore is the best because it stacks. It gets those Necromancer's Touch stacks so fast on them. So yeah, what was the other? Okay, so yeah, you need Shadow Bolt. Haunt is pretty important. The build's DPS is not impressive. That's another thing. This build isn't very good. Okay, when I was playing Demon Reach, I was doing like a little over, like I was doing 3K on bosses easily. I'm not hit capped, so I was like getting a lot of misses and stuff too on a boss. But even then, Demon Reach still over, you know, still 3K plus. It's got cleave built in, so if there's more targets, the DPS goes a lot higher than that. Its AoE is quite good. This build, it really has nothing of the sort. I think you're better off playing Pure Shadow. You know, that's the Shadow Bolt, Shadow Fury build. Because that build's got good single target. It's also got pretty good AoE. So it's just better than this one, I think. But, you know, whatever. This one's new, so we'll talk about it a little more. But you need Shadow Bolt. Haunt really is essential. I didn't have a Haunt skill card at the time, so I just re-rolled until I got it. Unstable Affliction. I'd recommend skill carding this as well, because it's a level 50. Even though it's a common, if you have a card for this, I definitely use it. Drain Soul, Drain Life are essential. Corruption is essential. Agony is fine if you get it. I'd recommend that you get it. It is a common. It's a low-level common too. It's a level 1 common, so you should be able to roll it before, you know. You should get it in your Hand of Fates at the very least, okay? But it's pretty good. You kind of need it. It's not a huge part of your DPS, but you know, it's worth using the global cooldown on. And Devouring Plague. Devouring Plague is good because of this Devouring. So if you have Devouring Plague, in the build I linked down below, okay, Devouring is what I would replace the Seed of Corruption enchant, the Seed of Corruption RE with, if you are single target. But usually I just run with the Seed of Corruption RE because it's useful. You know, running dungeons and stuff, you're always going to need AoE, and that's going to be a lot of what you're doing ordinarily. So, but for like a raid boss, I'd switch the Seed of Corruption RE out for the Devouring one. Not a huge DPS increase. I think Devouring Plague was like, it was like 4% of my DPS or something like that, but 4% is not insignificant. Maybe it was a little more than that, but something like that. So nothing crazy, but still a DPS boost nonetheless. My other REs that I you know, think are good are down below. Oh, there is another one. This Devouring Life. Where is it? Whoops. Make your Drain Life do 15% more. This on your Devouring Plague targets, like this is pretty good. 50% Drain Life damage is significant. This is a Drain Life build after all. So it is significant. It is significant. And you could swap that for the crit one. I forget its name. Like I said, all this is down in the build below. But that's not a huge DPS difference either, to be frank. But that's what I do for single target, and AoE, of course, is Seed of Corruption epic. So, but all these abilities here on this row, you really need all of them. Devouring Plague is a little more optional, but it's good. Agony is sort of optional. Definitely, if you want either Agony or Devouring Plague. If you had neither, I think it's pretty significant loss. So probably not worth running. You know, you probably need a Prestige if you did that. But yeah, this build, the DPS is not very good at all with, because I've got it on this trinket right now, but with my regular trinket, I've got 60 item level, which is full heroic. All my pieces are heroic. So, you know, the DPS is very unimpressive. It's much worse than Demon Reach. It's much worse than Pure Shadow. So I don't think this is worth running. Your pet also, if you like drop your rotation, your pet dies. It runs out of mana very quickly. The like you yourself run out of mana quickly, not the pet. Well, if your pet has mana, it runs out of mana too, but you do run out of mana as this build, which is another terrible facet of it. So we're okay, yeah, so this Death's Grasp, I don't have it right now because I had this outfitted for dungeons. I would drop Alacrity, the 6% spell haste, for Death's Grasp if you're doing raids, because you're not going to be hit capped with the current gear that's out right now. So the hit rate's really important. But this is what I'm running. Really not much else to say about this build. Oh, this is actually mandatory if you're using the Quillbore or the Skeleton, because it kills itself so fast. Like without this, the pet was dying. And your pet still might die. Which is another big flaw of this build. So I don't know why they made it like this. I don't really think this is worth playing. It is cool. I thought the rotation was pretty exciting, but you know, you run out of mana so quickly, your pet dies. If there's like movement and you can't channel drain life, your pet's gonna be dying. So this is not a good, I don't think this build's great for the higher raids because of that. Your pet will just be dying to stuff. So anyway, that's all for this video. Look forward to the Demon Reach video. We've also got a Serpent Form video in the works and a few other things, but those are the ones that we're oh, and Elemental Lord. We've all got all that kind of in the fire right now. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.